Banana me banana oh, I've been married a long time ago. When you the pom pom in the go, when you the pom pom botolano.
So guys, a very quick disclaimer that there's only going to be minor spoilers in this video. What's up guys, it's Bliskin here. Today I have a different kind of video planned. This is a video about something that is important to me. This is a video about Fate Stay Night. I say Stay Night specifically as I do not hold Fate Zero, Apocrypha, or the franchise universe in as high regards as I do this story. I will be talking about the visual novel here, but will use some footage from the anime adaptations to bolster certain points. In 2004, Kinoku Nasu wrote one of the most compelling and well-paced stories I've ever read. Fate Stay Night draws you into a world of magicians living amongst us in the shadows. Of all their twisted rituals, none are as big of a deal as the Holy Grail War. 7 mages summon 7 heroic spirits from throughout history and myth to fight in a battle royale, all in the hopes of being selected by the summoned Holy Grail, said to be omnipotent and acting as a wish-granting device. But it's not the secrecy of mages, nor the grand battles that sell this story to me. Instead, it's the main character, a boy called Shirou. 10 years before the game's events take place, Shirou lost his family, his friends, his entire life in a fire that consumed an entire residential area. The child wandered through the flames, covering his ears as people called out to him for help. Eventually, he succumbed to his burns and collapsed, waiting for an imminent death. But it never came. Instead, Shirou was found by a man named Shirou Emiya. Kiritsuku began to cry tears of joy over finding a survivor. Shirou became enraptured by the man's face. Rather than relief, Shirou felt jealousy. He wanted more than anything to feel what Kiritsuku felt in that moment, and it's this feeling that would dominate Shirou for the rest of his life. After the fire, Kiritsuku visits Shirou in the hospital. He asks if Shirou wants to be adopted. Shirou of course agrees, and from that day forth he becomes Shirou Emiya. 5 years after becoming Kiritsuku's son, the duo sit on their garden porch. It's here that Kiritsuku really seals Shirou's fate. When I was younger, I wanted to be a hero. Shirou looks up at his father confused. In his mind, Kiritsuku was a hero. How could the man idolized by Shirou Emiya be anything less? Shirou asks his father if he gave up on being a hero. Yeah, as it turns out, it gets harder to call yourself one as you get older. Shirou is deeply troubled by Kiritsuku's words. Not being able to bear the thought of Kiritsuku feeling unhappy, Shirou decides to make him a promise. Then I'll do it. You might be grown up, but I'm still a kid. I'll do it for you. I'll become a hero. Leave it to me. Kiritsuku closes his eyes and smiles. I can rest now. Those were Kiritsuku Emiya's final words. And from that moment on, Shirou would hold that promise to the core of his being. It's this stellar backstory that makes Shirou Emiya's actions throughout the course of Fate Stay Night so engaging. Seeing his internal clash between his self-loathing from his survivor's guilt and his supernatural dedication to his father's dream is really fun. Seeing how those closest to him get freaked out when he goes into a Kiritsuku episode, watching him overcome impossible limits to ensure that he doesn't fail Kiritsuku. It doesn't matter if he's fighting a superior enemy or throwing his life away to rescue someone else. He just gets this look where you know he's not seeing anything besides that dreadful fire and the last night he had with his father on that porch. And all 3 roots do very interesting things with this dynamic. This brings us to what the visual novel is actually like. There are 3 different routes. All tell an alternate take on Shirou's journey through the Holy Grail War. Nasu somehow made each route a completely viable story on its own, while still having each and every one of these routes mesh into each other. and like really just complement each other. It's really good writing. It's like a choose your own adventure book. You read, make choices, and unlock good or bad endings. If you fuck up, getting back to that fateful decision is very streamlined and fun in ways that I don't want to spoil. Aside from stellar writing, you get a very expressive set of sprites and voice acting to immerse you. But the most effective tool for handling tone is the music. Comedic moments work because of goofy, lighthearted soundtracks that set your expectations. This is something the anime adaptations really struggle with. But that happy human element disappears on the flip of a dime when the OST goes all dark and holy grail on your ass. The visual novel is easier to get now more than ever with the re-release on modern consoles and Steam. This leaves us with one more thing we have to talk about: the elephant in the room. Fate Stay Night actually started off as a hentai visual novel, and while Nasu can write really good romances, the sex scenes leave a lot to be desired. A lot of them feel very kind of like jarring, and from the perspective of someone that like doesn't really know how sex goes, or at least has a very weird perspective on it, some of the things that are said or some of the things that the main character is thinking about are just kind of off-putting. Now, the Realta Nua version, which got rid of the hentai scenes and made it a sex-free story, replaces these scenes with equally jarring kind of alternatives that really feel ham-fisted in there, because a lot of these stories are written with romance in mind, and sex is a natural part of that. The anime adaptations also really suffer from that Realta Nua kind of censorship or over-censorship. The only Fate Stay Night media that handles the sex well would probably be the Heaven's Feel movies. But yeah, just know that like if you get like an older original, like most likely pirated copy of Fate Stay Night, you're gonna get these really weird sex scenes, and if you get the new re-release, you're gonna get these like really weird kind of out of nowhere scenes where it feels like it's building up to a sex scene. So yeah, that might make you uncomfortable. I mean, there's also a lot of like dark things that get discussed in regards to sexual things. Again, like I don't want to spoil too much, but this is a story that doesn't shy away, even in its censored versions, from good and bad things that have to do with sex. So keep that in mind going into it. So yeah guys, that was my kind of 2 cents introduction to Fate Stay Night. I know I don't really talk about this kind of stuff on the channel, but in the same way Halo 1 is my favorite game, Fate Stay Night is my favorite story. And I feel like there is so much to look into, dissect, and just talk about, but this video is just to recommend it to you. If you guys want more videos where I talk about spoiler stuff, where I talk about the actual romances, or I talk about why I don't like a lot of the other adaptations or franchised media, by all means let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, this has been Pliskin, over and out.
This is Solid Snake. Hey, subscribe to Pliskin Boy. God damn it.
You heard him.